What's up, guys? Here from the chest. My name is Justin Groth. Guys, thank you for tuning in with me on another episode. It is Sunday. It is cheat meal day. I'm ready. Five Guys, here I come. Man, I'm so amped for Five Guys. I've never been this excited for Five Guys ever, but I'm excited, man. Anyways, guys, if you're new to me, thank you for tuning in with me, and thank you for giving me your listening ear. It means a lot to me. Welcome. And for those of you who have been with me for any length of time, thank you, man. It's super important to me that it means a lot to me, rather, that you listen to me and you keep giving me your time. So again, thank you, man. And woman. Guys, we're at it again, man. And I have another We're Not Friends segment for you today. So if you are one of those people that shoots fireworks off June 15th, we're not friends. What's your problem? It's not the 4th of July yet. Relax. Just relax. I know you're, independence, what? Relax, man. It's gonna come. And when it comes, shoot your fireworks off then. But anytime before July 4th, don't do it. Please. And if you do, if you're one of those, I mean this, we're not friends. I can't be your friend. I can't. If you are one of those, dare I say, hillbillies that shoots their fireworks off anytime before July 4th, like just relax, dude. I know you got your cool little, firework explosives from Mexico or Vegas or wherever they sell those, big extravagant ones. But just chill, man. Just chill. Just chill. And I'm saying this to the men because I'm sure women are not doing this. Men, just hang on. Stop with it. It's enough, man. I can't stand it. June, even March. I swear these people, they're doing this shit in March. Just relax, dude. You're pulling the trigger too quick. You're getting too antsy for the fireworks show or for the fireworks or Independence or whatever. Like all of it. Coagulated. I get it. Like, who cares though? Just wait, man. You're pulling the trigger too quick. You're like a shotgun. Like, just hold on, man. So that honestly brings me to what I wanted to talk about. Some of us are pulling the trigger too fast. Are you pulling the trigger too fast on things that are going on in your life? Let me give you some context. Are you pulling the trigger too fast on the startup of a new business? Are you pulling the trigger too fast on implementing something new in your life that might shake the family situation? Are you pulling the trigger too fast because you're too frustrated, which is a good thing. You're too frustrated with what's going on currently. Or B, you're pulling the trigger too fast because you're trying too much and you're doing too much. You're being too ambitious. And there is such a thing, guys. There's such a thing as being too ambitious or overly ambitious. And that can get you in just as much trouble as being lazy and doing nothing. And if you don't believe me, just think about all the people that race on the freeway to get where they're going. And I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I'm not saying that I'm perfect 65 miles per hour, 70 miles. I'm like, at least my foot rests comfortably at 80 on the gas pedal. But I'm not saying that I'm trying. I mean, even if I'm not in a hurry, I'm still, resting comfortably at 80. But I'm not an advocate of rushing, but sometimes you obviously are in a clutch for time and you want to get there. I get it, but just because you raced on the freeway doesn't mean that you're going to get there any quicker. You could probably get pulled over, right? That could set you back a lot of minutes. Or you could get to a stoplight at the off-ramp and have to wait there for another 5 minutes, and then everybody that you pass is coming up right behind you. It's like, just what I'm referring to is you don't need to do this on your own, A, and you don't need to be overly excited, B, and pull the trigger too quick. Because there's always going to be a time, an appointed time, for you to pull the trigger. And if if you're trying to manifest those times on your own, I promise you'll fail each and every time. And there's nothing wrong with failing, but there is something wrong with being ignorant and not tapping into what is viscerally telling you to not do that particular thing yet. Hold on, just hold on. And I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of that so many times in my life because I felt like ambition is the thing that is somewhat of my identity. And I felt like this is what's going to separate me from the pack. And I promise you, you're already separated from the pack with your ability. Your talents are the thing that separates you. That is the constituent that separates you from the pack. You don't need to gravitate towards being overly ambitious or pulling the trigger too quick. Because oftentimes, it just leads towards empty returns. And that's what I've experienced in my life, empty returns. You know, I'm doing something different with my business currently. And if I had done this, if I had implemented this process when I started, it wouldn't have served the purpose that it's going to serve now. You know, preferably because the times are different, the world is different. So that's what's kind of the catalyst behind what I'm doing differently in my business now. But at the same time, if I were to implement something like this in the beginning, I would have sunk a lot of money into something that would have given me no ROI. And even if the ROI was something of community or humanitarian driven, I mean, that's probably not the smartest in the beginning because I'm trying to consistently stay open, have the door stay open. And that, as much as that's going to help me, it's not going to help me with paying the bills if people are not. I'm getting too much into detail with it. I don't want to really talk about the business, but what I'm trying to allocate here is that if you're consistently pulling the trigger at the wrong time, you're always going to be missing the shot, man. And that's it. And it's not to say that you shouldn't take the shot. You should, but you need to get the green light. And the green light often comes not by, well, it's always going to come not by your own discernment. It's going to come from the discernment of your conscience. And God, I believe, talks to your conscience, and he's going to give you the green light, but you're going to feel it. You're going to know. Even if everybody around you is saying, that's stupid, you're going to feel something different in you. You're going to feel something like, if I don't pull this trigger now, it's going to be too late. And I often think about, I don't know why I think about this, but I often think about sailors, you know, sailing on their boat, navigating their ship in the waters. And it's like, you know, I don't know if you're probably familiar with this, but the Bermuda Triangle. And they always talk about how there's these, you know, a bunch of myths and legends about the Bermuda Triangle, how people were swallowed up to sea, or there's big monsters in the Bermuda Triangle or whatever. And I'm not too educated on the Bermuda Triangle. However, you can probably estimate that they're uncharted waters for a reason. You want to not chart those waters, right? It makes sense to say that. And a lot of times in life, we're the same way. There's avenues that we know, we're like, we get a strong gut, visceral feeling like we should not gravitate that way. Even if, you know, it's something of it seems to be like it might be something of magnificence, maybe because it seems like the unknown is out there. But you know, I gotta tell you, there's two different voices you're gonna hear. You're gonna hear a voice in my own I don't know, in my thought process. This is how I hear this voice. Yeah, man, just go there. Just go in there. It's fine. Just fine. Just go in there. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's like a snarky, malevolent, malicious, and kind of negative, with a negative connotation attached to it, kind of voice. It's like, it's very arrogant. It's very like, just snarky. Just like, it's kind of like it itches it makes your skin crawl and itch. It's like that kind of voice. Like, come on, man, just go ahead. Just go in there. It's fine. You'll be fine. And then there's another voice. I know that was super annoying, but thank you for sticking through with that impression. Then there's another voice. And this voice is very stoic and stern and direct. And that voice says this: you need to do this. Move forward. And there's such a complete difference between the two perils. You see, you have one on one end where it's just like, it's kind of like an antagonistic, instigating, malevolent voice. There's malevolence in the voice. You can tell. It's definitely not a benevolent voice, okay? And then there's another one that's very stoic, stern, and very direct but monotone. There's no like deviation, peak and valley in the voice. It's very concise, but it's to the point, and it's stoic, and it gives you an assurance. It's like that voice is so much more assurant to you that you're like, yeah, I should follow that voice. And so oftentimes there's going to be uncharted waters in front of you. You're going to come approach these waters, and for some reason you are going to feel like, I can make it out. I can go in and I can make it out. I know it. And there's going to come a time where obviously we have seasons that come and they pass, and we feel like when we're in this season, we're just, everything is just manifesting to nothing, but it is. And it's getting you prepared for that uncharted territory that lays ahead. And even if everybody around you is saying, no, it's dangerous, don't go in there, you have some type of a confidence associated with going in there. And so you go in there, because if you don't, the opportunity that lays ahead, if you don't take that opportunity, you can realize that I'm going to be worse off if I don't take that opportunity and I stay where I'm at. And that uncharted water, it's funny because you feel like even if you die going in there, even if you fail miserably going in there, that seems way more exciting than staying where you're at. That's how you know you need to embark on those uncharted waters. And there's going to come a time, an appointed time, that you're going to feel the need to pull that trigger. It's very important that you listen, that I listen to my conscience and to my gut, and what they're both in tandem telling me. But it's easy to get wrapped up in complacency, and it's easy to get wrapped up in what other people are saying and how other people are conducting themselves and what may be worked out for somebody else that maybe you look up to. But when it's your time, you'll know it's your time. And until then, you have to continuously make room for that new event to take place in your life. You have to continuously make room. Some of us are hoarding too many things. We're hoarding thoughts. Not only about ourselves, but we're hoarding thoughts about where we can go potentially. There's a ceiling to us, it seems like. And it seems like that ceiling is so low. It's so low. You think it's high, but to God, it's so incredibly low. And some of us just need to vault our ceilings a little higher, a little taller, because it's not really what you can do. It's like a little bit of what you can do, but it's predominantly what God can do for you and what He wants to do through you. And I'm such a big proponent of that, probably because I have nothing else to hold on to right now. I mean, I have things to hold on to, but they're not, to me, they're intangible. Even though they're tangible by nature, they're intangible because they're not things that I've created off of what I've been great at. Because I haven't even stepped into that territory yet. I haven't even embarked on those uncharted waters yet. But my ship is approaching. My ship is approaching those waters. And I know they're coming. And you may feel the same way. You may want to jump now. And I'm not saying don't jump. Yes, jump. But access God before you jump. And access Him to tell you when to pull the trigger. Because I promise you, They're different times than when you would pull the trigger from when he would want you to pull the trigger. But those are very imperative to your life and where you're going in terms of your trajectory. I used to love being ambitious. I used to admire that in people, but now I don't so much because I'm becoming understanding that it's not what you're doing. You may I mean, there's, you can make moves in life. You can consistently build things, etc., and build onto your resume, so to speak, but if you don't derive meaning from what you're doing, from what you're ardent in, then you will never see that come. You will never see the full manifestation of the picture that you're supposed to be one day. And the meaning of your life isn't something that you can just access, like you can just tap into. But the meaning is going to be predicated on all the different seasons of purpose that you have in your life. And they'll lead up one day to the big picture. And it's still going to keep going from there until you die, because really, you're not done until you're dead. But I mean, God's not going to let you see the picture when you're 6 from when you're 60. He's not going to open up. You're not going to see things manifest. You're not going to have a season when you're 60, when you're 10 or 11 or 12 or 20. You're not ready there. You're not ready for that yet. You're not there yet. You haven't earned that position yet. You have to make your way up the ranks. And you do that, God prepares you by seasons of purpose in your life. They all hold a certain merit in your life. But it's leading up to the big picture, and it's leading up to the point of your life where you're going to actually step into a way bigger element than even you could have thought of on your own if you leave it up to God. If you don't and you pull the trigger too fast, you'll miss it. And some of you are itching to pull the trigger. You just got this gun. You're itching. I don't know why I said that. You're itching to pull the trigger. You're so encapsulated around the act of pulling the trigger and what it's going to do after you pull the trigger and the bang it's going to make and the smoke that's going to come out the gun and all that. And you're just immersed in that positive thought, or that potential thought rather that's going to take place, or that potential actions you're going to see. But that's all it's going to be if you trust only in yourself. That's all it's going to be. It's going to be smoke, and then it's going to be gone. But what you're aiming at, you're not going to hit because you're not ready to pull the trigger yet. You want to make sure that when you pull the trigger, you hit what you aim at. So some of you have to get an aim in your life. That's where it starts first. Make sure that your aim is aligning with what is meaningful for you to do in your life. Something that you can sit back and say, I'm proud of that. That gave me identity. That gave me meaning. That makes my life worth living. That's something that I can pass on to my kids when I'm old. When I'm gone, people are going to remember me from that, from what I did. That's called meaning. And that's called having a purpose behind the meaning, is what you can give in terms of your legacy and leave as your mark on this planet. But you'll miss it if you keep pulling the trigger erratically for no reason. You'll miss your aim. And God cares about you so much. Even if you've left him, even if you don't access him, he's still accessing you. He's still guiding your footsteps. And that's what's crazy about our God. Because you yourself couldn't do that to somebody else. You couldn't do that to your neighbor. If your neighbor snubbed you one morning, you know you're out the picture of that neighbor. You're like, yeah, F him, dude. I don't care. Dude, if that was our God, we would all be screwed. All of us. There's not one person that would be okay Luckily for you, for me, we have a God that serves us even when we don't serve him, because he loves us with an unconditional, unfathomable love that you yourself do not possess and cannot understand by logic. You just can't. So don't even try. But I will promise you that if you keep shooting the trigger at something that you're not aiming for, you will miss every time. And then you'll become frustrated and you'll become depressed because you'll feel like your life has no meaning. And you'll feel like, where do I go from here? I'm not living up to what I thought I could be, because you keep pulling the trigger when it's not time. Stop with that. The only way out of this life alive is through God. You can turn me off now if you don't believe that, because none of my words now are for you ever, and none of them before were for you ever. You can keep thinking you're going to run this life on your own. You can keep thinking you can be the one person to do it differently. I promise you, you won't. I promise you that. The only reason why I know that is because that's what God says, man. It's in your Bible. If you own one, that's what it says. So if you're not right, I would suggest that you get right. And that doesn't mean that I'm telling you from a hierarchy position. I'm telling you because these are things that I'm experiencing and I know can help you, because you're a human just like me. You have the same wiring like I have. Maybe some different wiring, but for the most part, we're biologically engineered the same. Just think about it. Maybe that's the reason why you're frustrated and you can't get anywhere in life, because your aim is off. And you keep pulling the trigger when you shouldn't. Done.